Uh-huh. DJ. Spin it. Hey, don't forget that I paid the licensing for this thing. So it's, yeah, it's mine. Come on. What's up? Here we go. I'm jacked up, baby. Another black rifle. You better sponsor me. Yes, sir. I mean, what other topics should we talk about today? But some VA loans, right? Because I'm drinking a black rifle. It's the second one of the day. I'm juiced. I'm jacked. I am jacked to talk about VA loans. What's up, everybody? Michael Swigert, loan officer, sales manager, Top Flight Financial, the bearded banker. It's your boy. I'm here. I'm live. And you can see me. It's a brand new podcast of the bearded banker. And now you get to see me. I got this microphone. It sounds a little bit better. I need a haircut. The beard's a little long, but here we go. Because somebody told me some of the best advice that I ever heard. And it's something about, now I'm going to butcher it. Of course, I would butcher it. It has something to do with like procrastination. No. Is it? Attempt of perfection is the killer of execution. It's something like, it's something like that. But basically, it's like the more I procrastinate for perfection, I'll do it when my beard looks better. Well, I'm not going to do it then. So here I am looking at you in the camera. So we're going to talk about it. VA Mythbusters. I do a class on this. I am a veteran mortgage advisor. I am certified. You know what that means. That means I'm better at writing VA loans for our vets than the average loan officer, because I'll be honest with you, the average loan officer sucks at writing VA loans. All right. So if you're a veteran, if you are looking for a VA loan, just know, don't go to any bank. All right. Now I try not to talk bad about any other loan officer, but our industry just is awful at writing VA loans, and it's a shame. So here we go. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about VA loans. We're going to do the Mythbusters. We're going to talk about a couple things here today. And the first one, all I hear is that VA appraisals suck, right? And it's always the same agent, right? I've been in this industry for 35 years, sugar. And what is it? What is it about real estate agents that have been in the business for 35 years that need to call me sugar? I don't know. Why do they do that? I don't get it. Stop. Here we are. Number one, VA appraisals call for too much to be fixed and are not worth the hassle. So what we're going to do, we're going to play a little game. We are going to play a game. All right. Next contestant on Guess That Appraisal. So here we are. Oh man, I ruined it. Okay. This is a PowerPoint and not a live okay, but anyway, so this is a conventional appraisal. Barn and rear of the property must be torn down, debris cleared, and final inspection must be completed to ensure no safety issues are What that means is that the appraiser saw a safety issue with the barn. It was leaning, whatever. It wasn't in good shape, and they wanted it torn down. And that was a conventional appraisal. And I'll be honest with you, VA appraisals, if the property has, a shed in the back that's just not great and has peeling and chipping paint, if it's not given value, then it doesn't need to adhere to the minimum property standards. Pretty cool, right? But conventional, they could call for it anyway, whatever. Okay, next one. Subject has 5 staircases with no handrails present. Installation of handrails are required, and the cost to cure is $350. So that cost to cure thing really, really kind of actually is not great when the appraiser says that, because then it's almost like automatically you got to get it done. Anyway, that was a conventional loan. And I hear all the time, well, what do you mean? It's a conventional loan. You need handrails. Well, yeah, they called for it. They got the conventional appraiser called in 35 years. Okay. The registered SSR score, so that automatically gives it away because SSR is only generated for a Fannie or Freddie loan, but is indicating a 4.6, and it is there. Well, there's a possibility of overvaluation. So this is something that we're seeing a little bit more of than before, but possible overvaluation. A desk review will be needed to determine the need for the second appraisal. So this is something that's new. On VA, you don't have this. Conventional, you do. Basically, if the property comes in with a high SSR score, the underwriter can take a look and see, like, well, maybe it was because this comp is like weird and it's throwing something out. Or there's sometimes where it's like, yep, no, we have to have a desk review, which is essentially a second appraiser looking at it, and it's a pain in the butt. So let's go here and talk about the 26-7 from the VA. And chapter 12 and see what it says for us. And what it says is the property must be safe. The property must be sound, and it must be sanitary, right? That's the three things to think about, right? Because what they do, like, all right, I'm going to show you this next one. You're like, every time I show people, everybody's like, oh my God, that's a lot. No, it's everything. Let's go, right? Property must be residential. Duh. Okay. Conventional says the same thing, 5149. Remember, it's all mixed use properties. It has to be 51% residential, and it has to be zone residential, and it has to have a rebuild letter that's residential. I bet you a lot of people that may have triggered you because you've had a deal where it's like, oh no, it's zone residential, but the rebuild letter says it can be rebuilt as whatever. Wrong. Property must have space necessary to assure suitable living, sleeping, cooking, and sanitary facilities. Okay, so you have to be able to cook, you have to be able to sleep, and you have to be able to shit. That's all it is. Mechanical systems must be safe and have reasonable future utility. How many of you have had an appraisal done on a foreclosure? Do the utilities need to be turned on? Or they need to be tested? Same thing. Heating must be adequate. Well, they have to have heat. And then see how vague it is. It literally says heating must be adequate. Take what you want, right? So if it's adequate for the area, if the appraiser deems it as a, if that heating source is standard for the area, that's it. Property must have domestic hot water, continuing supply of safe and drinking water, and safe method of sewage disposal. I swear, if I run into one more agent, that's like, well, it's off the grid, and they got to carry their poop out in buckets. Like, what? Okay, it doesn't matter what type of loan you're going to have. Anybody's going to have a problem with that, okay? If you have that one weird property, there was one here by my office in Burbank, Ohio, that was like self-sufficient, and you're not going to believe it. There's a community bank that will lend on literally everything, and they even said no. And I had so many agents call me, oh, well, my lender would okay. I'm sure your lender would write on it. Well, you better call them real quick, because in 35 years, I've never had that problem. All right, here we go. Sorry there, wrong button. Okay. Roofing must be adequate and provide reasonable future utility. How many of you have had a roof cert on a conventional loan? Raise your hand. It's a podcast. You're not going to raise your hand. But yeah, that happens. Okay? Got to have the roof's got to be in good shape. If it's got like 1 year left, like think of it this way. Like if the veteran, even if it wasn't a veteran, but they're buying the house, your borrower, right? Your buyer that you're representing, like you want them to like be able to live in the home. Right? You want to make sure that they don't have an issue when they move in and then they have to have the house foreclosed on. Like, come on. Crawl space must have adequate access, be clear of debris, and properly vented. Very similar to conventional. So anything that's with a crawl space, like a manufactured home, something like that. Utility services must be independent for each living unit unless they are separate shutoffs for each unit. Properties must be free of any hazards which adversely affect health and safety of the occupants. No gas tanks buried in the front yard, right? Okay. Or any hazards, right? There can't be something that like could hurt. Like, I don't know, lead-based paint would be kind of something, right? But it talks about that later, but that was also something that could be hazardous, right? Okay. Think of that. Remember, safe, sound, sanitary. No defective conditions which impair the safety, sanitation, or structural soundness of the dwelling. Lot must be graded so that it prevents pooling of water on the site. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. If I need to have one more conventional where the grading. I mean, like I've had this problem so much, and I don't know if it's like the earth is settling or what, but the for some reason we have like the lots have to be graded more often than I've ever experienced in the past 3 years, and they've all been conventional loans, right? So, okay, no wood destroying insect, fungus growth, or dry rot. It's the only loan program that actually requires a pest inspection. And if I have to hear one more agent complain about the pest inspection, it's like $65. Like if you can't, it's literally like $65. Lead-based paint must be evaluated and corrected. I have had a ton of properties, okay, that were conventional. That I'm not making this up. I've had a ton that actually have lead-based paint called out by a conventional appraisal. I've had a ton because it's a safety issue. And we'll bring up here in a second where, I'm sorry, I actually skipped over here, right here. Conventional appraisals. This is what it says. They have a checkbox right here. So let me pull it up on the screen for everybody real quick. But there is a checkbox on every single conventional appraisal that says, are there any physical deficiencies or adverse conditions that affect the livability, soundness, or structural integrity of the property? And if they check yes, then you are screwed. You're screwed. We're screwed. We're screwed. Mom. So are there any physical deficiencies or adverse conditions that affect? I mean, if it is a yes, then it's subject to that. Whatever it is has to be fixed. How many times have you guys need a structural engineer? It's conventional. I don't need. Well, no, they have to check this. But VA loans are so much because I don't want to deal with the VA appraisal. All right, sorry. But I do wish, only if I wish there was one loan program out there that would allow the appraiser to notify us if the appraisal is going to come in low. So we have a chance like that we can like provide comps to the appraiser, right? Like I just wish there was one out there. Well, I'm here to tell you something. I am here to tell you. Oh. Yeah, no, there is. There is one. Did I do that right face right? I was so happy. I was at Beer Fest there, or Oktoberfest. What a happy time to be alive. There is one. So some of us may be familiar with the Tidewater Initiative, right? And all the Tidewater Initiative is the appraiser notifying the lender, right? So they invoke it. Boom. We have 48 hours because they are having trouble coming up with the contract price. But how cool is that, right? They're like, hey, Michael, I'm about to underappraise this thing. But you guys should know the market, right? I'm just here to appraise. You should know the market. I need you guys to provide me with comps. And you have 48 hours to provide me with comps that justify the purchase price, right? The buyer's agent should have came with their own comps whenever they came to the buyers that, to justify their offer price. And then the listing agent should have had comps that they came up with to come to the listing price, right? Okay, so you have 48 hours. Provide them. Boom. Appraisal still comes in low. Well, then if the purchase price isn't met, I can send, on behalf of the borrower, actually the borrower sends it, the veteran sends a reconsideration of value request to the ROC. Not to the appraiser. I don't know how many times, I know everybody listening to this right now has had a conventional loan where they like provided comps to the appraiser. Like, good luck getting the appraiser to look at them. Like, they don't have to look at them. Like, they just, like, I don't know how many times I've had like, hey, it's Michael again. Like, we provided you with some comps. Like, can you like come back and maybe help us a little bit? No, they don't have to, right? So I'm not sending to the appraiser, right? And here's a stat that's not on here. I haven't updated it yet. But according to the acting director of loan guarantee for the VA, 91% of all VA appraisals came in at or above contract price. Let me say that one more time. Okay, ready? 91%. 91 of all VA appraisals came back at or above contract price. How cool is that, right? I mean, that's awesome. So I'm going to sit here. I got a cool shirt that sometimes I wear. I wore it in a bunch of my other videos. And I'll be honest with you, VA appraisals VA loans are greater than conventional loans. Hands down, without a doubt, VA loans are the best loan out there, right? And that's why I say VA appraisals are actually greater than conventional. You have a safety net for the purchase price, right? With Tidewater. You don't have to worry about the overvaluation with SSR scores like I talked about. Most items that are required to be fixed will be pointed out by a home inspector. It's not looking for it's not going to tear your home apart, right? And if they do tear the home apart and it's stupid, like some of the repairs that their appraiser's calling for are just like asinine, right? I just go straight to the ROC, right? I literally, and I say, hey, like we need a waiver for this. And if they agree, they'll grant the waiver. It's the only loan program with a mandatory service level agreement as well on when it should be returned. Right, so we're not worrying about that problem right now because inventory and appraisers are so low, but that was a huge issue. That was a huge issue during 2020, 2021, and it wasn't on VA loans. So every time I hear that, I'm like, oh, VA. No, VA appraisals are fantastic. They're fantastic. All right, we'll talk about the myth number 2. Number 2 myth. Wrong. You cannot have 2 VA loans at the same time. I love it. I love it. As a veteran, you have 2 types of entitlement. You have basic and you have bonus. All right. If the veteran wants to buy a home before they sell, the LO just needs to determine how much of the bonus eligibility that they actually have left. Right. So I would sit here and I could spend quite a bit of time. And I actually give this presentation to real estate agents, right? So I give this presentation and I talk about eligibility. I talk about how, the loan officer should be able to determine how much bonus eligibility they have left based off pulling their certificate of eligibility. And all of a sudden I put this up and I'm like, you just don't care. Why do you care as a real estate agent? You don't. As a loan officer, we should. And as a veteran, you should care that your loan officer cares and they're able to actually figure out how much eligibility you have left, because I don't know how many times, I mean, it's disgusting and it pisses me off to hear from a veteran. Well, yeah, we had to go conventional. They pre-approved us for conventional because we already have a VA loan. Like, what are you talking about? Like, even if you run out of eligibility, that just means you have to put some down payment down, but you're still not having to put 5, 10, 15, 20% like conventional, and you still don't have PMI on a VA loan. So it infuriates me whenever I have a veteran come up to me like, yeah, no, we had to go conventional. Like, no, it's the worst. All right, let's go back to it. Here we go. So, but what I tell real estate agents and also veterans too at the same time, like, hey, you don't have to make a contingent offer. Like, if you're okay, if you qualify for both house payments and you're comfortable with it in your budget, like, there's a great chance, especially in my market, right? In my market, you're going to be able to purchase with $0 down. Like, there's a great chance. If you bought your first home and it was maybe cheap and it was, you affordable because you just got married or you just got out of the service, or you're out of deployment, whatever, right? There's a great chance you'll have bonus eligibility and you won't have to put any money down on a nice home. Okay. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about how we compute eligibility because that's what sets me apart from all the other loan officers. So just go ahead and call me if you're a veteran, you want to find out, or if you're an agent that works with a veteran right now, then their loan officer said, you got to go conventional. You never have to go conventional. Never. Unless you're buying an investment property, then we'll talk about that later. But if it's your primary residence, no. What are you doing? We'll figure it out. But the scariest part, I'm telling you, this is the scariest part, right? There's loan officers that actually believe you can only have one VA loan. That's actually supposed to say I used to work with one. Right when I started. And and actually I remember getting into a pretty decent argument about it. About so passionate that you had to only have one VA loan at a time. It's not true. It's not true. It's all about your eligibility. I've actually wrote plenty of loans with veterans that have multiple. And what's really cool is like when you save that first one and then it becomes an investment property. And then whenever rates go down or you want to do a interest rate reduction refinance loan, so an IRRRL, you can do that on that investment property, right? It's awesome. It's awesome. Anyway, number 3 myth. VA loans are hard to close. Well, here's actually, okay, here it is. Sugar. I have to say sugar, right? Because they call me sugar. No, you just work with a bad loan officer. Hands down, you just work with a bad loan officer. Right? Because from the VA handbook, where they say a lender must do everything in their power to make the loan for a veteran. Like, they must do everything in their power. Because in contrast, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the all sacred conventional, try to find literally 1 billion reasons for you not to qualify. Right? I write a conventional loan and I have to look at the findings, and then I'm like, wait, what? And I mean, literally, the selling guide is huge. And the VA literally says, we want the lender to do everything in their power to make the loan for a veteran. I can call the VA, right? The Loan Guarantee Center, and I can actually get somebody on the phone to send me an email. Got to meet her at one of our conferences. We did it for veteran mortgage advisors. And you could call her and she will give you guidance in writing to give to your underwriter. Like, oh, come on, let's get this deal done. Like, so whenever you hear this, that VA loans are so hard to close, like, stop. No, they're not. You just have a bad loan officer that doesn't specialize in it, or that hasn't done enough of them, or didn't research them, or quite frankly, just doesn't care, because conventional is the easiest cop-out and the biggest cop-out that we've had in our industry for the past 25, 30 years. When the veteran has earned their right to use this loan, and it is far superior than any other loan out there. VA loans are flexible. They allow for a much, much higher debt-to-income ratio compared to any other loan program. They have the same guidelines as every other government loan on foreclosures and judgments. They have the service level agreement for an appraisal, so you get your appraisal in a timely manner, and they actually have no minimum credit score requirements. It's the lender that has a minimum credit score requirement. And also what makes them hard to close is this. Top loan officer mistakes, right? Not ordering the certificate of eligibility at pre-approval, because that is the lifeblood of the VA loan, right? It's going to tell, I mean, this is what's actually, it's pretty crazy to think about, okay? So there was a time where you could order an appraisal before you had a certificate of eligibility. So somebody would come apply for a VA loan, say they're a veteran, give you a DD 214, or maybe even not, and your company would order the appraisal, charge the borrower, maybe they weren't actually a vet, whatever, and then you get back the certificate of eligibility a week before closing, and then they don't have any eligibility, and you're like, hey, you just wasted money, you wasted everybody's time, they can't qualify for a VA loan, and we're just going to flip you over. We'll just flip you to something else, not a big deal. Yeah, we'll just flip you. Like, come on, really? So, not ordering the certificate of eligibility at pre-approval. Now they made it mandatory where you have to order the certificate of eligibility before you can even order a VA appraisal. So that's been great. But this is mistake number 1. So thank God now we're catching it. Loan officers are catching it before the appraisal even gets ordered. Number 2, not asking the right questions at application about your service. I mean, this is actually the very simple, very, very simple. And I don't know why loan officers they're just not asking the right questions, right? About their service. How many, were they active duty, right? So if they were in the National Guard, I mean, we're talking about a completely different way of pre-approving. There's just so many questions that we don't ask. Number 3, income calculations is using income that isn't eligible. So basic housing allowance qualifies sometimes not. If they're active duty, if they're not, there's income calculations are huge. And we also in the VA world use residual income, and that's important to know how to calculate it as opposed to just normal income like Fannie or Freddie. So that is a big mistake by loan officers. And number 4, childcare expenses, the only loan program that actually requires to know childcare expenses. So that's huge. There's a form that the veteran has to fill out. And they always ask, and they're always like, well, what is this? I want to put down who my child care provider is. Well, they do care because they do count that in the residual. Sorry, I got stuffy nose or something, man. Good night. This one infuriates me. Veterans, well, they're just bad borrowers, right? The dumbest. I hate this one. Like, because they're putting no money down, they've earned it, right? They're not a bad borrower just because they're putting no money down. All right, so we want a conventional loan, right? Because, well, Conventional loan, they have more money down. It's like an exclusive club of conventional loans. Average credit score of a conventional borrower in 2021, 738. Average credit score for a VA borrower in 2021, 732. Oh my gosh. So exclusive. Like, come on. They're not that exclusive. 732, 738. So I'm going to say identical credit scores. In 2021, the liquid net cash on hand for a VA borrower, not counting their pending property, the property that they're selling, any cash proceeds from that, not counting that, $16,000. I will tell you, I have wrote lots and lots of conventional loans. Nobody has $16,000. Nope. No. Nope. Average borrower doesn't. Not for conventional. I'm putting 5% down. The proceeds are coming from the sale of their house. They're lucky if they have $100 in their checking account. So, and then one last, I did not put this in here, but the one last fun fact about a veteran household, $25,000 on average. The veteran household is on average $25,000. Their net worth is higher. 25,000, right? So it's just funny to me because we associate bad borrowers, right? We associate bad borrowers with a VA loan. But you're talking about people that went through basic training that are disciplined, right? And someone like, so if you go to officer school, most of the officers, a lot of them have their like credit checks all the time. It's part of their duty, right? So like, I can't imagine that we associate a veteran borrower with a bad borrower, right? I'm not saying that they're doing, a bond program for a first-time home buyer from the state that takes 70 days. That's a higher interest rate. That's a terrible product we don't even want to get started on that tangent, but that is a terrible product for a borrower. And yeah, they may not get that approved because it's a bond program. It's a lower credit score borrower, and they don't have any money to buy a house. Maybe they shouldn't be buying a house. But this is a veteran, a disciplined veteran, right? That served our country. That is, the lowest foreclosure rate of any other loan program. So when are we going to get by the stigma that they're a bad borrower? Because it's terrible. It's terrible to think. Like if you're a listing agent and you get an offer from a veteran, and you get a VA offer, you should be so excited. I'm gonna go to my sellers right now. I see, hey, I have a VA offer on the table. There's a veteran and his family putting an offer on your home. And how awesome is it that we can welcome a veteran that served our country, that stand alongside other men and women that fought for our freedoms, and they want to live in your house. They want to build their family in your neighborhood. They want to be able to and be around all these people that you enjoyed, that you lived here and you enjoyed. And look at this offer. It's a strong offer. And oh wait, hey, they also have a safety net. So if the appraised value doesn't come in, we don't have the headache. We have 48 hours to provide comps, and we're able to also have the veteran and the loan officer reach out to the ROC and possibly get a reconsideration of value, right? And also this veteran is possibly receiving disability from the VA. And they're not going to have to pay their funding fee. And they're also receiving additional income from working and also their VA disability. So we know that this is probably a slam dunk deal because they don't have a minimum credit score. And look at this approval or pre-approval from Michael, a veteran mortgage advisor. I know he's already pulled a certificate of eligibility. He already knows how much they qualify for. And he knows that they're eligible for, they have no minimum loan value because they haven't used their VA bill or the VA eligibility yet. So when are we going to change? When are we going to say that as a listing agent? When are you going to come in and say and be excited to present a VA offer? Because right now it's not. And I don't know how many times I have to see on Facebook. I don't know how many times I have to get a note from a listing agent that says they won't even entertain a VA offer. And then I get on my phone because I'm pretty even killed, but you can hear me like hyped up right now. And I get on the phone and I'm like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Right? Because whenever that veterans put on their boots and served overseas in whatever country they may have been, they didn't sit there and think, oh, I'm not going to do it because so-and-so, oh no, I'm not fighting today because I'm not entertaining so-and-so from whatever real estate company is. No, I do it if it was somebody else. So get out of here. It's awful. It's awful to think about. Anyway, so that's the end of this podcast. If you have any questions, if you are a real estate agent and you want me to put on this is, so the next part about this is just part 1. This is the opening. So I have a bunch of other myths. And what I do is I do teach us as real estate professionals how to present a VA offer and how awesome it is, and join this network of real estate professionals that have the backs of veterans, because they had ours without even us asking, right? We didn't even have to ask, and they had our backs. So now that they're home, let's get them in homes. Again, I'm here to fight the stigma against VA loans, and I will not, as long as I am in this industry, I will never ever stop trying to fight for a veteran in a VA loan, because they deserve it, they earned it, and it's despicable what our industry does right now to the VA loans. So anyway, it's the Bearded Banker. Thank you so much for joining in. We got another podcast coming up in a couple of weeks. We're going to get some real estate agents on here, and we're going to make fun of them. That's always exciting. Always exciting to make fun of some real estate agents, but well, you know what I mean. I hear the music. Play me out, Sparky. Yeah. Woo! Yeah.
The Bearded Banker is brought to you by Top Flight Financial.
My voiceover. Peace up. A-Town down.